Guys, good to be with you on the I Love CVille Show. My name is Jerry Miller. It's Monday. Thank you kindly for joining us. We're live in Charlottesville, the Commonwealth, the country, and the world on the I Love CVille network. We're presented by Ting Fiber Internet, the best of the best. Ting Fiber Internet, making a positive impact in our community. Ting Fiber Internet. We have a lot to cover on today's show. Of course, the impact of football, in particular college football, for the Charlottesville and Central Virginia region. We'll talk about that today on the program. Whether you went to a watering hole or you were able to tailgate with friends, the impact is still felt. We saw families hosting other families at their homes. We saw tailgate sandwiches and fried chicken and cold beer and adult beverages and local wines consumed. We saw neighbors just setting up outside, TVs outside to watch UVA or Virginia Tech. We saw folks going to Buffalo Wild Wings, to Peloton Station. We saw folks going to the watering holes on the corner and on the downtown mall. Just because we did not have fans in the stands at Scott Stadium, we had roughly 1,000. 800 on the UVA side, 200 on the Duke side. The economic impact still felt, even when football does not have fans at Scott Stadium to the 64,000 level of people we've grown accustomed to. We'll talk about that on the show. We have activists in our local community. In fact, the most recognizable names in the activist community now are going on record with the local media and whoever will hear and saying Mayor Walker needs to resign. So these are folks in the African American community, folks making a positive impact in this community, folks that try to organize a protest down Market Street that later turned into fines and permits being revoked or not being issued in the first place. Ladies that have a large following and tremendous influence, now asking the mayor to step down from council. That story is going to come up. We'll talk affordable housing, and a local MLS, soon to be released by the market, was doing research for the program. Love seeing the distinguished gentleman, Keith Smith, the star of Real Talk, and a story on the Daily Progress written by Allison Rabel about a new multiple listing service coming. We'll ask Keith Smith about that and his ties to just a fabulous organization in the Central Virginia Regional Housing Partnership that's trying to fight for those that are voiceless in the community. We will talk about the Festy, Michael Allenby, a businessman from this community, an agent of positive change in the music community. He's going to join us on the show tomorrow to talk about what the Festy's doing. We'll give you a sneak peek today. The Festy's moving to Chisholm Vineyards, where it's going to reenact a variation of the Festy, where big-time national acts will come to Chisholm Vineyards, and we'll be able to watch them in small pods that we pay for in advance and use QR codes while sitting with our small pods to make orders for food and beverage and whatever it may be. So we'll catch up with the music entrepreneur, Michael Allenby, on tomorrow's program. We'll let you know what's happening today. Stuart Evans has resigned from the Charlottesville Civilian Review Board. The Charlottesville Civilian Review Board has had massive turnover within its very short life existence. The Charlottesville Civilian Review Board, its whole purpose is to hold local officials, local police accountable. That's the whole purpose. Volunteers, everyday people like you and I, trying to hold the police accountable and make city officials, more transparent in their behaviors and what they're doing. Well, Mr. Evans resigns, and he writes basically a 2-page letter that frankly speaking must be heard by everybody in this community. The local media has yet to report on Evans resigning from the Civilian Review Board. We'll talk about that, and I think after we discuss what he did, the local media is going to start covering it. It's the influence we have here, and I think it's something that we need to share what his thoughts were in a documented, written letter that he himself composed. That really outlines what he was feeling as an unpaid volunteer on a review board that is clashing with council, in particular clashing with the mayor. That story coming up on the I Love CVille Show. Norfolk, the City of Norfolk, has plans to redevelop the oldest mall in its city, and that story is going to come up. They're going to turn it into a live, work, play situation where it's going to be offices and densely populated apartments and bike trails and bars and restaurants and music venues. And it really got me thinking of the possibilities, of course, of fashion scare mall. Now that the Chick-fil-A, Will and Erica Taylor, the first couple of fashion scare mall, Will and Erica Taylor, they're leaving behind the Chick-fil-A in Charlottesville. They're going to the Portsmouth Chick-fil-A. Well, they will run that as owner-operators. You know, you think about who is on the docket and who is left as a tenant at the mall, and it's few and far between. So we'll brainstorm some ideas. And how about Alamo Drafthouse? You know, Alamo Drafthouse will now allow you, Alamo Drafthouse will now allow me to rent an individual movie theater. And it takes roughly $300 in some movie tickets to do that. You pay $150, you can rent an Alamo Drafthouse. You also have to commit to $150 in food. So for $300, you can invite your friends to enjoy a movie that you have carte blanche over and can control. Now, your friends do have to pay the price of admission, but still, you think of a COVID-friendly and a COVID-safe birthday or something along those lines, this is certainly one of them, and it shows the very precarious future and the very precarious position movie theaters are in, and that Alamo is allowing us for about $300 and the price of some tickets for your friends to come through the turnstile to rent an individual movie theater. It is crazy. We'll talk the University of Virginia football win against Duke. Virginia Tech also beat the Wolfpack over the weekend. The Hokies beat the Wolfpack despite 23 players sitting out due to COVID-19, including the starting quarterback. The Hokies beat the Wolfpack despite the defensive coordinator of the football team sitting out because of COVID-19. We'll take a look at the week ahead. Virginia Tech travels to Duke on Saturday, where the Hokies are a 10.5-point favorite. And the UVA Cavaliers are orange and blue. On Saturday night, it's the ACC game of the week. The Wahoos at Clemson, 8 p.m. kickoff on the ACC network. The Tigers of Clemson, 28.5-point favorite. 28.5 favorite as of today. So a lot on today's show. Judah Wickower, let's give some love to Interstate Pest and Service Companies, a home's best friend. Judah's our fabulous director. Interstate Pest and Service Companies, folks, has been making a positive impact in this community for more than 50 years. Interstate Pest and Service Companies, 4 generations of family and a home's best friend. First, let's talk football. You know, it's important for us to emphasize this. I think we're all a little bummed, you know, especially for us that, you know, had season tickets or go to the football games every Saturday. Sure, we're bummed we didn't see Broncos team in Virginia football beat Duke in what was a very strong outing for Virginia. Now, of course, the cardiac calves made us hold our breath and made us a little nervous into that fourth quarter, but we had, 21 points in the fourth quarter. And those 21 points helped the Wahoos rally to beat Duke 38-20 in front of about 1,000 people at Scott Stadium. I know we're bummed we couldn't be there, but did you notice the positive impact college football had on the community despite us not being in attendance at Scott Stadium? Did you notice the watering holes around Charlottesville? A lot more people in them on game day on Saturday and Sunday with the National Football League on Sunday, guys. A lot more people there. Peloton Station, Buffalo Wild Wings, some of those watering holes in the downtown mall. The Quarter, they were doing it safely. They were doing it in social distance capacity. You take a place like Peloton, who we love quite a bit, they have a fabulous outdoor patio, and they can seat a tremendous amount of people inside. And they have a phenomenal TV setting. So we saw some more people out at the bars. And how about those that didn't go to the bars but chose instead to maybe have some friends or family to their house or go to a friends and family, cookout or tailgate outside? You saw to-go food. You saw sandwiches being ordered by Tiger Fuel, being made from Tiger Fuel and taken to Sunday cookouts, and people enjoying those Tiger Fuel sandwiches or champagne from the Wool Factory. You know, you saw the fried chicken. We should not underestimate the value of football in this community, especially in the South, especially with the team right here in our backyard. Even though we cannot attend the games in person, unfortunately, right now, it still is driving incremental spending across the Central Virginia region, and for that is positive. And I love that as someone who loves this community. Now, our next headline is one, Judah, if we can get on screen. When is the last time you've seen a headline like this? And this is from, this is frankly at Mayor Walker here, okay? Daily Progress, and I'll read you the headline. Give me the thumbs up when it's on there if you could. Thank you. Charlottesville activists say the mayor and the police chief need to go. I hold the mayor as accountable as anybody in this community. And the reason I do is because I've said this many times, when there's smoke, there's fire. And many of the internal and external issues from just getting along with people are originating with her. You got the Police Civilian Review Board, you got the city manager, you got issues with other counselors. The list goes on, the list goes on. Folks, we now have people who straight up are saying, I voted for Mayor Walker, and now who are straight up saying, she needs to go and resign. I mean, you read the headline and you talk about a PR Optics 101, three of the biggest, most influential activists in this community, Ms. Parker, Ms. Turner, Ms. Bryant, Ms. Coleman, you have three or four of the most influential activists in the community that are now asking for the resignation of the mayor, and we are now 13 months away for when she is up potentially for re-election. This is a story to follow closely. It caught me off guard when seeing the headline in the newspaper. Nolan Stout, once again, is doing a hell of a job of covering City Hall, the nuances and the workings of City Hall. So the headline in the Progress, you could get it back on screen again. Charlottesville activists say the mayor and the police chief need to go. We'll follow that closely on this program as we see the base or the foundation, the voter base that is critically important and paramount for re-election, splintering right before our eyes. Charlottesville and Central Virginia, the two most impactful, powerful, and influential public servants in Charlottesville and Central Virginia are undoubtedly and without question and with no rival, Mayor Nikhil Walker in the city of Charlottesville and Albemarle County Supervisor Ann Malik in the county of Albemarle. Supervisor Malik and Mayor Walker are the most impactful and influential public servants in this area. Supervisor Malik just got reelected. So she's got, 3 years and counting into her term, right? Mayor Walker's up for re-election in November. I cannot possibly see at her age Supervisor Malik running again after this term. But we know for certain Mayor Walker is. So the splintering base is something of note to follow, especially for us political junkies. Let's go to the next headline. Judah Wickhauer, our director, and we'll talk about this with the distinguished gentleman, Keith Smith. There's a new website, and get that on screen if you could, J-Dubs. A new website, and look at the screen, for affordable housing that's set to launch. And this multiple listing service will list housing units for sale and for rent that meet certain income levels, which will be decided by the Central Virginia Regional Housing Partnership Committee members. People will be able to use the website to search for housing based on their income levels. And look at that, in the third paragraph, the distinguished gentleman's got, fourth paragraph, the distinguished gentleman, Keith Smith's got to quote the chairman of the committee. My friend, personally, I'm super excited about this. This is kind of something we've been pushing uphill for quite some time, end quote. And he's exactly right. And he talked about this on Real Talk, an insider's guide to real estate, Tuesdays and Fridays at 10:15 a.m. on the I Love CVille Network, a powerful and influential program in this community, Real Talk, hosted by Keith Smith. We'll welcome Keith on the broadcast in about 7 or 8 minutes to give us some perspective on this and to also discuss what's upcoming for his show. If you guys are not watching that program, you're literally watching housing policy change and become a reality before your very eyes. So we'll talk about this new website, and it's something that's needed, an epicenter or a hub for knowledge, for affordable housing in a community that has become extremely rich and wealthy. So here is knowledge, much like the I Love CVille Network, knowledge for people to absorb and interact with in an approachable setting. That's what we're going to get from this website. Our next headline, Judah Wickower, is something that has not made media news. It happened on Friday afternoon after we were done with the I Love CVille show. And it happened via Twitter, and Sarah Burke, who previously was on the Charlottesville Civilian Review Board. Now, yet another member has resigned. This one, Stuart Evans. And Sarah Burke says in her tweet, along with publishing the resignation letter that I have not seen in the Daily Progress, in CBS 19, on NBC 29, in the CVille Weekly, in any media publication. And it happened Friday afternoon after the I Love CVille show was done, or we would have talked about this with you. This is news. A volunteer, yet another volunteer, unpaid volunteer on the Charlottesville Civilian Review Board, unexpectedly resigned. And Stuart Evans, Mr. Evans said, quote, "I will not be part of the city's reform washing, giving the illusion of reform while little actually changes." Stuart Evans, Mr. Evans, the unpaid volunteer, calls out the Charlottesville Police Department and City Hall for failing to follow through with their end of an agreement. I mean, this is and are you showing the letter on screen? Let's put the first page of the letter. I will read this first and second page to you from the resigned guy who did this on Friday, and it's not in the media. "Dear members of the Police Civilian Review Board, I am writing to formally resign from my position on the Charlottesville Police Civilian Review Board. I am resigning because I believe the board is fundamentally flawed and therefore destined to do more harm than good. The initial CRB members spent countless hours putting together a robust, comprehensive plan for civilian oversight of law enforcement in Charlottesville. While it was not perfect, the initial ordinance and bylaws provided a foundation of real change. However, City Council gutted that initial proposal, altering the very structure of the board and taking away many of the modest tools that could have allowed the board to provide meaningful insight." Are you hearing this, guys? Evans continues, "Council has refused to explain their reasons for making these changes. Indeed, as you may have noticed, Council has declined to act on any of the nascent board requests, including the board's request to revert to the initial ordinance and bylaws. Using a technique as old as time, Council has told, not asked the board to wait. Wait for change, wait for progress, wait for reform." I mean, I could continue reading this. I'm going to close with this paragraph. Stuart Evans, who resigned, Judah, put page 2 of the letter on. Page 2. "I refuse to lend my time, my energy, and my name to a system that promises one thing but continues to embrace the old broken system. I refuse to continue to collaborate. I refuse to help the city of Charlottesville clean up its image by peddling fictions of progress. I will not be part of the city's reform washing, giving the illusion of reform while little actually changes." Come back to me on screen, please. Come back to me on screen. Mr. Evans thanks the current and initial members of the board, two of them are friends of mine, and Bellamy Brown and James Watson, people that I am proud to call friends. James Watson and Bellamy Brown, people who I know to be level-headed, clear thinkers, people who are doing things for the betterment of Charlottesville. Bellamy Brown, we endorsed him for city council, right? I Love CVille, okay? So, ladies and gentlemen, one board member who resigned is using her Twitter account to post the resignation of another board member. And the resignation of the second board member is straight up saying city council has gutted this volunteer organization that's used to keep Charlottesville City Hall and police department accountable and honest. The man who's resigning is basically calling out council, saying they are being disingenuous. And again, I need to emphasize this. And someone tag someone in the stream right now that needs to hear this. This news is being unreported by the media. Okay? I'm going to emphasize this again. Where there is smoke, there is fire. We have, and I am just reading. I'm not even giving you my opinion. I'm reading. We have people that are quitting a volunteer board because they can't get along with council, in particular the mayor. We have people that voted for the mayor and were her number one, using the bullhorn to rally the troops for voting, that are now saying she's got to go. We have the city manager saying the same thing. Previous city manager saying the same thing. Give the show a like and a share. I'm getting to all these comments. Jack Maxwell, Scottsville, I will get to you. Christopher Eagle, Mary McDonald, Brittany Moore, Carol Thorpe, I will get to you. Josie Williams, Johnny Ornalis, Barbara Lundgren, I will get to you. Lauren, I will get to you. Bob, I will get to you. Tim, who's always watching in Crozet. Rachel Labonte, I'll get to you. Iris Luck, I will get to you. We will read your comments on air. I am literally reading and just being informed and relaying that information to you. Okay? That's all I'm doing here. The next headline, boys and girls, quickly. The Festy, and we'll talk with Michael Allenby tomorrow. Michael Allenby is the founder of the Festy. Good people. He is going to move it to Chisholm Vineyards. And he's going to have little individual pods where people pay in advance to go to Chisholm Vineyards, and they can sit in their pods. There'll be a QR code wherever they're sitting. You'll scan the QR code for food and beverage, and then you'll have the stuff delivered to you. You back on a one-shot with me? You are? This is what I really like about this idea. It keeps lines from happening. You're selling the tickets to this event in advance through a computer or a phone, preventing lines from happening, which means it should be a more enjoyable experience, and certainly from a COVID-19 experience, not having lines is a good thing. You sit in your little pod section, right, with your friends or your family that you pay for in advance. You clear some protocols to get in. You use a QR code to go there. It's brilliant. And it's the overused cliche word of 2020 is pivot. Well, he's pivoting to keep the Festy alive. And Allenby's going to join us on the show tomorrow. A music entrepreneur and businessman in one of the industries or categories that got hammered the hardest, music, hospitality, weddings and events, restaurants, hammered the hardest. He's figuring out a way to survive. That's positive in my book, and I champion positivity and small business owners finding success. Quickly, before we get to Keith Smith, Keith, we're going to go to you in a matter of moments here on the show. A couple of items out of the notebook that I saw across the Commonwealth that I wanted to relay to you. There's a mall in Norfolk. Scott Aaronworth, the Esquire from Va Beach. I'm saying it right here. I'm working on my pronunciation. Norfolk, there's a mall in Norfolk, and it's called Military Circle Mall. It was the first enclosed suburban shopping mall when it opened 50 years ago in Norfolk. It's likely not to last much longer. The City of Norfolk paid $13.4 million for it in June. $13.4 million the City of Norfolk paid for this mall, the first one in Norfolk history, 50 years old. It is 73 acres. It includes the mall, a long-vacated DoubleTree hotel tower next to it, and the City of Norfolk wants to transform this footprint into a live, work, play, office complex, highly dense apartment living, bike trails, bars, restaurants, movie theater, music venues, basically a place where you can walk out your apartment, you can walk to work, you can watch a movie, you get a couple concert venues or movie theater venues or music venues, like 8 or 10 different bars, some cool shopping, some super sweet grocery stores in there, some walking and biking trails, some volleyball courts, some basketball courts, and some gyms, even a spot to work out outside. I love the idea. I love the idea. I love the idea. City of Norfolk, $13.4 million. For 73 acres. The reason I bring this idea up to you is it's about time someone steps in and does something with Fashion Scare. We hear the rumor, we hear the scuttlebutt about UVA. Frankly, I don't see UVA doing that anytime soon when they're hemorrhaging money in left and right. Maybe it's an idea for Albemarle County to get in the mix and maybe see if they can scoop something up for pennies on the dollar. And if the county of Albemarle can scoop something like Fashion Scare, yes, Fashion Scare Mall, up for pennies on the dollar because it's about to default on its debt service, the county can leverage this massive piece of property right in a very visible portion of the county and create more affordable housing or more dense housing, and they can utilize this entrepreneurial thinking. And I'm an entrepreneur, a libertarian at heart. I see the writing on the wall, and I'm tremendously fearful that the county of Charlottesville and the county of Albemarle County, the county of Albemarle, and the city of Charlottesville are going to go to people like you and me, homeowners, business owners, and say, Jerry, we have to make up a budget deficit. We're going to tax your commercial real estate. We're going to tax your residential rental real estate. We're going to tax your home, and we're going to tax your business. And that's how we're going to make up the deficit. That pisses a libertarian off so much. Instead, as a small and medium-sized business owner and one who offers tremendous consultation to many small and medium-sized business owners, why not get creative with your thinking by maybe using a footprint that is not driving incremental revenue in Fashion Scare Mall? See if you can scoop it up for pennies on the dollar, and you create a public-private partnership, a JV, a joint venture with some developers, heck, with the Thomas Jefferson Land Trust. And you build some affordable housing on a spot of Albemarle County that has become an eyesore. An eyesore. And then you can drive incremental revenue this way as opposed to taxing us. Albemarle County, City of Charlottesville, why don't you partner together and attract some youth soccer tournaments? Some major youth soccer tournaments. We told you last week, one youth soccer tournament over a 4-day weekend that attracted club soccer teams from all over the Mid-Atlantic had a $23 million positive impact on the city of Richmond. $23 million in incremental revenue. I implore respectfully, I demand respectfully that City Council and Albemarle County Board of Supervisors start thinking outside of the box to make up this budget deficit. Get entrepreneurial. Attract a soccer tournament, form a partnership with the University of Virginia where you can utilize their field, or SACA, the soccer organization where Phil Wendell literally just gave $250,000 to SACA, okay? You got major players in there. Let's do creative stuff. So Norfolk being creative, I hope Albemarle County can follow suit. Before we get to Keith Smith here, Alamo Drafthouse, put it on screen. This shows you the very precarious position Alamo Drafthouse is in. Let me know when that's up there. Thank you, Judah. You can spend, ladies and gentlemen, to rent a movie theater at Alamo Drafthouse. We have one on 5th Street Extended. You can pay $150 to rent the movie theater. You have to commit to $150 in food as well, so you're at $300. And then anybody you invite to watch this movie at your theater has to pay a price of a ticket that goes to the Drafthouse. So basically, out of my pocket, I could say, I'm having a party for my son's birthday. I'm having a party for my father's birthday. I'm going to give you 2 scenarios, 3 scenarios. Here's 3 scenarios for an idea for you. I have an anniversary coming up with my wife. I have a birthday coming up with a grandparent or a parent. I have a birthday coming up with our child. For my wife, we can do an anniversary dinner at the movie theater. We can invite 10 or 20 or 30 of our friends and position them socially distanced everywhere. The friends, all they're responsible for is the price of their movie ticket. They'll be happy to get out of the house. Of course they're going to pay the $12 movie ticket. Then I'm going to provide $150 of food. I'm going to provide a safe movie theater for $150, $300 my money. You guys, once we pass that $150 threshold, food and beverages on you, cash bar, cash food thereafter. Let's watch for the anniversary dinner. We can watch, what are we going to watch at anniversary dinner? I'm going to screw this up and she's going to laugh at me, damn it. All right, first thing that's coming to mind is You've Got Mail. Meg Ryan was so cute in You've Got Mail. She was just so cute in that movie, and I loved hearing the AOL ding every time Tom Hanks signed on You've Got Mail. That's a little older movie. I'll say You've Got Mail. How about for my dad on his birthday party? What are we going to watch for Big Jim Wickhauer or my dad on their birthday party? Judah Wickhauer. Do you have any ideas? Let's get the Judah cam in the mix. Get the Judah cam ready to go. Judah loves when I welcome Judah cam and throw things to here. What do you want to watch for Big Jim Wickhauer's birthday party if we did that? Judah Wickhauer.
I'd probably want to go see Tenet again.
You'd say what?
I'd probably want to go see Tenet again.
10 was good. Brad.
Tenet.
Oh.
Tenet.
Tenet. All right, Tenet. Okay, fine, Tenet. Tenet's okay. Okay. I'll throw something for my dad, maybe a little Caddyshack, Sopranos, if we can get a series to play on HBO. I doubt they would allow that. If not, maybe some Goodfellas for dad. For my kid, Toy Story 4, although dad may cry at Toy Story 4. That was for you, Kelly Jackson and Jamie Schwartz. Dude, can it tell you what kind of precarious position Alamo is in? That for $300 plus a couple of tickets for your buddies, you could rent one of their movie theaters? That ain't a good sign. Only 22% of Americans feel comfortable going into a movie theater right now, according to a couple of independent national studies being done. And very quickly, before we get to Keith Smith, how about a photo from the I Love CVille Instagram? If you're not following I Love CVille on Instagram, you're missing the 3rd largest Instagram community in Charlottesville and Central Virginia. UVA's number 1, the city of Charlottesville's number 2, we're number 3. Get that 3-notch grilled cheese on there. You get that, Judah? Oh my gosh. 3 Notch is my favorite brewery. I have a kegerator at home. In that kegerator is a Minuteman pony keg and a Ghost pony keg. It was a gift from my wife. She's amazing. Their grilled cheese with soup, bangin'. Save $288, Judah, on Ting Fiber Internet. $288 on Ting Fiber Internet through ilovecville.ting.com. It's the cheapest, the most affordable price of Ting Internet at the best price possible. I Love CVille, .ting.com. I'm looking at my hair here. I'm making sure my hair's okay. The reason I'm checking my hair is because I'm going from a guy that has good hair and Keith Smith, so I'm feeling challenged and I'm feeling keeping up with the Joneses to make sure. I mean, how do you get yours to do that? Is that natural, Keith? It looks good.
Natural. What, are you starting the whole show off, throwing me under the bus already?
No, that's natural, right? Are you using hairspray?
Maybe.
I got Tresemme number 4 and some pomade in mine. How about you?
Never give away my secrets.
Okay. Keith Smith.
So I don't know. You were talking about food, and I'm getting hungry. So that was a good wrap up. So how you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing well. So how about I was doing some research for the show, and I see your name in the paper, paragraph 4, in a fantastic article, and I read it, and I'm like, hey, that's my buddy. And you've highlighted this, you've hinted this, you've done some attention for this on Real Talk, 10:15 Tuesdays and Fridays on the I Love CVille network. But we have a multiple listing service for affordable housing. Keith Smith, the show is yours.
Yeah, so like my quote, we've been pushing this rock uphill for the last 3 years, and if you let you and I go at this, I'll probably eat up the rest of the show, so I'll try to give you the Cliff Notes versions of it. About 3 years ago, I made a motion at planning district commission to create this regional housing partnership. And what it does is it takes what I call the 4 pillars of housing, particularly affordable housing. So what happens is we brought in we got the public officials there, so we got all the jurisdictions there. We've got nonprofits, all the housing nonprofits there, like the Land Trust, Piedmont Housing, and Habitat for Humanity. And we've got the private sector, which the private sector's never been invited to these conversations before. If they have, they never showed up in great numbers. So we got developers, builders, and more importantly, we got actually, it's public record, you could take a look at it, but we have some top officials from UVA sitting out around the table. And the last thing that we bring, which is most important, is the people we serve, the actual people that are renting and the actual people that are buying the houses. So one of the problems that we had, and we recognized it pretty quickly, is Chris Henry, right? One of our sponsors with Dairy Central is in his project, he has affordable housing rental units, and he had no place to go. Where do I go so the affordable housing tenant, the people that make 80% AMI or less, area medium income, can go and find. So basically all we're doing is we're taking what I work with every day, which is an MLS system, creating it so that sellers or landlords and tenants and buyers can meet. And then they can go ahead and move. And then we're going to have all kinds of education components to it. But we're excited about it. It should be released somewhere in November, hopefully, if everything goes right. And we're hopefully going to try to do some data merging with some other nonprofits around the country, and particularly the actual market, such as CAR and so forth and so on, so that we can try to get this information out there. So I didn't know I was in the paper until I was listening to your show.
My next question literally, and this shows you, my next question literally was like, did you even know you got quoted by this? So clearly what's happening, this is amazing. So Neil Williamson's watching the program here. You have a number of your agents at CAR are watching. All right,
Cool.
let me throw this to you here. You guys are doing amazing things at the Land Trust. I love the fact that you're creating a resource through this partnership for people to just get information. I mean, you're basically making information approachable and accessible, which is important. Here's a question that's come up. What would it take, and this is hypothetical terms, distinguished gentlemen, okay? What would it take for a municipality like an Albemarle to make a purchase like Fashion Square Mall?
You keep on slipping that scare out.
I know.
Interesting, unrelated. I was out in Seattle and actually toured. There's a mall out there called Northgate that they've actually did exactly what you're talking about. And I was just actually reading an article earlier. Greystone just provided $14 million worth of funding. So they're building, I believe it's 80 affordable housing, senior housing units. So they can get involved in it. And how, we're private sector guys, right? So, how, in my opinion, jurisdictions get into it is they can offer assistance. They can make the process more streamlined. As I was a part of the Project Rebound, and we had Elizabeth on our show, green light versus red light. Okay, let's make green lighting a little bit easier. We're not saying boilerplate approval, but let's think outside of the box, guys, and move on there. So I think that that mall would be perfect for that type of live, work, play scenario. There's all kinds of hurdles and time, and the Northgate took many years to get approved and funded over in Seattle. But that's a great model to look at. If you ever Google it, it's pretty cool.
I can't think of a better time in a long time to buy a brick and mortar wall than the heart of COVID-19, when all their flagship tenants are piecing out and the owner of the property has said, we're having a difficult time meeting the debt service payments.
Is that still owned by Simon?
Yeah, Simon Property, yeah. Now, they have a division within Simon that is controlling it now, but Simon's still the parent.
So you're dealing with large corporations and trying to get through that. You think getting through local government is difficult. Try getting it through, corporations of that particular size. You mentioned Land Trust, and since apparently when I left the show on Friday, what I was quoted on is what I was going to do. So I apologize to everybody for leaving the show early on Friday. And I announced it there was only one media thing, but I think I'd like to make a little announcement on your show.
Oh,
would you be willing to
sure.
do that on the land trust? So we're not quite 100% there, but let's say we're 80% there. So the land trust, I've been negotiating, and we've been negotiating with Piedmont Housing Alliance to do a merger, and we're about 80% there. Hopefully by the end of the next week or two, we will have that done. So what that's going to do is we're going to merge the land trust and its model and PH and all its Piedmont Housing and all its capacity as far as funding and human resources and so forth and so on. And so I've asked all the time, how come the land trust doesn't work in Crozet, or how come we can't do it other way? It's our scalability. We've created the model that works, the permanent affordable housing. It works, at least I think it does. Somebody once told me do a POP, I won't mention any names. guy by the name of Jerry Miller said do proof of performance, and we've done that on Nassau Street, and we were now making in my opinion, a freaking awesome marriage, for lack of a better term, with Piedmont Housing and Sunshine Mathon and all those guys over there and folks over there, and we're going to be able to do it, because what happens with the land trust, I'm competing against everybody. We're competing against everybody else, right? We want to buy land, and it's just we've got to have the resources to do it. So that's going to really ramp up what we're doing, and hopefully beginning of next year we'll be actually implementing it.
I love it. So Keith, you're getting props here. This is Jack Kraling is saying that I love when Keith offers perspective on real estate, zoning, and development. It is much needed, and it's hard to get that information elsewhere. Neil Williamson just posted a story about the mall, and I'm going to see if I can reference that, Neil, here during the show. We love when he watches and he posts. So a lot we need to cover. What do you have planned for the show tomorrow?
So tomorrow, I'm excited. We're going to pick up where we left off. This is going to be a little Batman and Robin. We're going to have any guests. We're going to talk a bunch of real estate. We're going to talk about, from a seller's perspective, the 7 new truths about putting your house on the market. And it's one of the items, just to kind of tease it a little bit, is the online impact is the new curb appeal, right? Curb appeal is now an online thing, and what one needs to do if they're going to sell a house to make sure that they're putting out their best foot forward, because as we talked before, the homes are typically viewed now, according to the National Association of Realtors, 3 times online before there's one actual drive-by or take a look at it. So your online presence is your new curb appeal. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, and we're going to talk a little bit about staging, believe it or not. Ooh. Because everything is so driven towards this online presence, and I'm not talking about virtual staging because I don't particularly believe in that. But we talked about a little bit on safety on the show on Friday. How to minimize your because people are just now with these 360 tours. This because you're in this business, right? Yeah. And I'm learning it for almost 2 years. Those cameras, those 10 cameras that are looking at you right now, see everything, and you've got to look at it from that perspective. Those cameras, those videos pick up everything, and you got to be a little thoughtful about what you have behind you, what you have
downstairs, the conversation.
That's exactly right.
You have
you hear the conversation?
Yes, we're hearing it almost crystal clear.
Well, this is our new office, so there is work going on.
We have you have every media, dude. You literally have every media outlet in Charlottesville watching right now. The Daily Progress, NBC 29, CBS 19, and CVille Weekly are all watching this right now. Neil Williamson is also watching right now. A lot we're going to cover. Go ahead.
I just would encourage those media outlets to reach out to the folks at the Land Trust, reach out to the folks at the Regional Housing Partnership. We're doing some great stuff out there. I'm not saying that just because I'm the chairman of both, but they truly are.
Or they may just listen to your show tomorrow and quote you.
I didn't even know. Who knew? right? Didn't know. I'm listening to the show, and I'm getting quoted. Look at that.
You killed it, dude. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you. Looking forward to it. I really felt cheated last Friday with our time together, so we're gonna have a lot of fun.
Okay, thank you. I'm looking forward to seeing Keith Smith tomorrow. Okay, we got a quick clarification. A friend of this program, James Watson, who is the chairman of the Charlottesville Civilian Review Board. He is the current chairman, James Watson, of the Charlottesville Civilian Review Board. Quick clarification he's brought to my attention. Sarah Burke did not resign. She was a member of the original board. So I want to clarify that. I said Burke resigned. She did not resign. She was a member of the original Civilian Review Board. I think it's safe to say, though, James, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's safe to say, though, that Sarah Burke very disenchanted with what she was seeing and dealing with Charlottesville City Council and the police chief and the police department as a member of the Police Review Board. I'm going to get to your comment. Stephanie Rhodes, I'm going to get to your comment. Rachel Labonte, I'm going to get to your comment. Trevor Daniel, welcome to the broadcast. Nothing but love for you there, Trevor Daniel. Melissa Denham, I'm going to get to you here in a matter of moments. A couple more items of news that we need to get to, and then we'll get to your perspective on the show today. Let's get the college football news here. So UVA played Duke. We watched this at our neighborhood with friends. I saw very micro and then talked to others how college football and football in general is impacting the economy despite people not going to Scott Stadium. You saw a lot of family tailgating outside, a lot of friends and neighbors tailgating outside, buying food and drinks and beverages and F&B from local merchants. You had people going to watering holes. UVA scored 21 points in the fourth quarter to beat Duke 38-20. UVA really did a good job of capitalizing and forcing mistakes from Duke. I don't get super nuanced with sports. I am a sports junkie, but I don't think this show is made for super technical X's and O's talk. I want to applaud and thank Bronco for really having his team prepared. I mean, UVA had what, 4 other opponents that they were preparing for before this game? I mean, UVA thought it was going to play Virginia Tech in the opener. UVA thought it was going to play NC State in its opener. UVA thought it was going to play VMI in its opener. And UVA thought it was going to play the Georgia Bulldogs in its opener. So for this to be the first game of the season for UVA, when the Duke Blue Devils had already played 2, this was their 3rd game for Duke. And for UVA to perform like they did against a team that was already live action tested is a positive sign. I think Armstrong, that southpaw left-handed quarterback, he has an emerging weapon. I mean, just a nasty weapon on the horizon, and what looks to be a first year of a wide receiver, and Davis, who is 6'7". I'm watching Davis out there, and this dude is like, has an NFL body. I mean, he's 6'7", the wide receiver that was catching those touchdowns. So I see the tight end, the transfer tight end, also looks like he's a beast. I was just real impressed for the week 1 against UVA, guys. I was really impressed with Bronco and his team. They go about their business the right way. And speaking of impressive, how about Virginia Tech? The game against NC State right after the UVA-Duke game, the Hokies pounded NC State 45-24. The Hokies had 23 players not play because of COVID. On top of the 23 players that did not play, the starting quarterback was one of the 23. The Hokies also didn't have their defensive coordinator because of COVID. So props to Virginia Tech, 45-24 win in their season opener. I mean, they were without their starting quarterback, their defensive coordinator, nearly 24 other people. I mean, absolutely impressive victory right there for Virginia Tech. If you can give an update on the standings before we get to your comments, put your comments in now. If you type your comments in, I will relay them on air. Give an update on the ACC standings. Put those on screen if you could, Judah. Give me a thumbs up when they're on there. All right. Look at the screen now. Look at the screen now. Look at the screen now. Okay? You have a number of undefeated teams. You have the Miami Hurricanes, who are filthy, and you have Clemson, who is filthy, and there seems to be a level of performance right after Miami and Clemson. Pittsburgh is undefeated. Boston College is undefeated, 2-0, 1-0 in the conference. Notre Dame, 2-0, 1-0. So you have some talent in the ACC, 5 teams currently ranked in the Atlantic Coast Conference. Virginia, Broncos team, they go into a serious situation on Saturday, 8 o'clock, Death Valley, ACC Network, put it on screen, UVA at Clemson. Clemson is a 28.5-point favorite. The lines in the book has opened up. The Tigers, a 28.5-point favorite as of today. Look at the screen. And Virginia Tech will travel to Durham. They'll face the Duke Blue Devils on Saturday. So 2 big-time matchups. I love the fact that UVA and Virginia Tech are playing back-to-back in the ACC Network. And J-Dubs, you getting those on screen for us? That means a lot. Thank you, my friend. So on Saturday, UVA at Clemson, Saturday night, 28.5-point favorites. Clemson is as of this morning. 8 p.m. kickoff, ACC Network. 4 hours before, 4 p.m., Hokies, Duke Blue Devils. The Hokies are a 10.5-point favorite. 4 p.m. kickoff, ACC Network. We got some big-time football. Boys and girls, some big-time football right there. All right, give Scott Wagner of Scott Wagner Chiropractic and Sports Medicine some love. Put your comments in the comment section now. If you have perspective that you want heard or relayed on air, now is the time to do it. Did I cover all the headlines? I did cover all the headlines. The Washington football team took it on the chin. The Washington football team, Haskins couldn't take care of the football. All right. I was proud on Saturday to be a UVA fan. Weren't you? I was proud to wear my orange and blue. I put on an orange shirt. I had an orange hat on. My wife had some orange on. We turned football into, and I love her. We haven't had a date night in forever because of COVID, and we have a little boy. So we're trying to be safe. And my wife goes, why don't we make this UVA game that means a lot to you, Jerry? I know it does. Why don't we make this part of date night and we can go watch the football game? I was like, okay, that sounds good to me. So thank you to that, Mrs. Miller, for that. And I was proud. I was proud to be a Wahoo. Stephanie Wells Rhodes watching the program. She says, we love the Alamo. Stephanie, I honestly thought of your family. I can truly see your family doing the Alamo theater rental. It's $150 to rent the theater, and then because it's family, you wouldn't need to do like the cash bar because it's family. Maybe it's another $200 you guys have for the food for all your kids, all those kids and all the parents. You guys pick a family-friendly movie, and it would only be your family, your extended family in the movie theater watching it. It would be so fun. You guys would love it. Rachel Labonte says, how about The Princess Bride? I love The Princess Bride. Rachel Labonte, that's a great suggestion. Iris says, how about I Love CVille? Throw a party at Alamo for a few folks to test out the new setup. Iris, luck. I love that. You know what, Jamie and Kelly, you should do this. They're the co-stars of Women Changing Our World. Jamie is the owner of Picasso Swig, and Kelly Jackson is the owner of Panera Bread. They got pool at Fifth Street Station where the Alamo is because they're both renters at Fifth Street Station. Kelly and Jamie, this is an idea for you. And I'm literally coming up with this on the fly, Kelly and Jamie. Women Changing Our World should rent an Alamo theater and spend $150 and then do $150 or whatever on food. $300 total. Anything after that, they have to go out of pocket. And you should say, watch Women Changing Our World, and we'll find 30 or 40 people that can go to this movie theater and watch it with us and enjoy it. Because you guys got clout and pool at Fifth Street Station, and you could probably go to Alamo Drafthouse and say, let's negotiate some kind of deal here. And driving activity to Fifth Street Station at Alamo is good trickle-over positive impact for Panera Bread and for Picasso Swig. Just a suggestion. That right there is me coming in on the fly. I think that would crush it, Jamie and Kelly. Women Changing Our World are renting a Alamo movie theater, and we're going to show a movie on a woman that's a woman-focused character movie-wise that is doing awesome, monumental things. And we're going to invite 25 people from the Women Changing Our World audience. And they get to watch this movie at this movie theater in a safe and social distance fashion, 25 or 30 people only. That would crush. That would crush. And you could say how you enter is liking and sharing our show. That right there is called brilliant marketing and branding. And that's right there on the fly. Literally on the fly. Give the show a like and a share. Give the show a like and a share. Jack in Scottsville, thank you for all you guys do during COVID-19. Dr. Downey is watching. Rebecca. I love you, Rebecca Downey. Welcome to the broadcast, Rebecca Downey. Somebody say, Rebecca Downey. She is awesome. Christopher Eagle's watching. He says, Patrick Carroll is the bomb. He's the head chef over at Three Notch. I love him and his food. The food is really good. The food is really good. Jamie Schwartz says, ooh, ladies party, me likey. We do like a good party. You guys love to party. More comments coming in. Jerry, I was surprised to read that the Civilian Review Board was not on any of the news outlets over the weekend or on TV. I also follow Sarah Burke on Twitter, and I noticed that you were tagged in one of the retweets. I'm glad they tagged you because maybe this news would not be out there today. I think they're right. Jamie says, how about Romy and Michelle's high school reunion? I think that's your shot right there. I mean, that would be great, Jay Schwartz. That would be absolutely great. So this is the I Love CVille Show. All we're trying to do on this program is to bring honest, approachable information to you. And on your phone, where you never leave home without it. Okay? And here's what I learned today. And remember, you can watch this entire show 5 days a week in 5 minutes or less at 5 o'clock on the I Love CVille network. It's called the I Love CVille Daily Digest. I do this entire show in 5 minutes or less for you to get all your information. But here's what I learned today. I learned that even though fans were not in the stands at Scott Stadium, UVA football still had a positive impact on our community. And go Bronco and wahoo wah. I learned over the weekend, frankly, that Virginia Tech's football team is pretty darn good. That they were able to beat the NC State Wolfpack without their starting quarterback, their defensive coordinator, and 22 other players. They're pretty good. I also learned that UVA is a 28.5-point underdog where they're going to face Clemson Tigers at 8 o'clock on Saturday in Death Valley. We'll follow that line as it goes up or down. I thought 28.5 was a lot. Virginia Tech favored to beat Duke. I learned that Mayor Walker's base is splintering tremendously. Folks that were standing on the top of Vinegar Hill during her election and singing her praises are now talking to any media outlet that will listen that say the mayor needs to resign ASAP. I learned that the City of Norfolk bought a mall, the first enclosed mall in Norfolk history. The City of Norfolk paid $13.4 million for it and now is rolling out a plan in a joint venture, public and private partnership, where they are going to try to build a live, work, play, offices, dense apartments, high-end apartments, low-end apartments, medium-end apartments, priced fairly apartments, bike trails, workout, grocery, music, and movie venues, all in one spot on 73 acres, and they're going to live, work, play. And I encourage Alamo County and the Board of Supervisors to consider a similar approach. You know, I learned that Mr. Evans from the Police Civilian Review Board is frustrated with a lot of things, and he's choosing just to resign and sprint from the hornet's nest. And I fully expect that to be on the news tonight or tomorrow. And if it's not, you should be contacting your outlet saying, what's going on, dogs? What's going on, dogs? And to close, I learned that if Alamo Drafthouse is changing its business model, and its business model is now going from watch movies by paying a ticket and coming in to it essentially using influencers, and influencers are going to rent a movie. And an influencer can be a mom, it can be a dad, it can be whatever it may be. They're basically using micro-influencers to try to make them money. I learned that their business model is in a very precarious position. And until we get some clarity with this COVID behemoth, that's one of the businesses that you got to really worry about. And that business drives square foot value for Class A shopping centers across America. Movie theaters are reasons for landlords to charge high rent, walk-by traffic. I don't know, man. We'll follow it closely. All right, so that's a wrap. It's good to be with you. My name is Jerry Miller. This is the I Love CVille Show. We just have fun. We're fair. We're cautious. We're optimistic. We have a libertarian, small business, medium-sized business mindset, and we just hold our leadership in this community accountable. It's all we're trying to do at this network, guys. Thank you. Peace. Peace.